You should hire the divas, right? Now, by the way, if you read any management text, it says don't hire the divas because they're nothing but a pain in the ass. By the way, they are. But the people who are the divas who believe, right, are the ones that will drive the culture of excellence, and they'll drive you to that excellence. Steve Jobs is a diva. I worked with Bill Joy, who was my colleague for many years. He's an example of a diva. And I mean this in the most flattering way. They expect a lot, they drive people hard, they're controversial, and they care passionately. Right? If you find those people, you're probably going to work for one, so be nice to them.
I have a bit of a different take, but I would say that just saying, lumping everything as a diva as someone, because you mentioned Eric mentioned most of the positive traits of a diva, but in my experience, a diva can also be super disruptive, or they are very rude, they're assholes. Steve Jobs was kind of an asshole if you think about it, and it did more harm than good. So I think the diva, also within the diva term, there's also a big spectrum of like how much of that diva is actually productive, despite being passionate and hardworking and having high standards. I just feel like it's slightly different between these two. Like it's someone who's just not pushing the company forward or the project forward, then you're not really going anywhere. So I don't necessarily agree with Eric. I think it's not defined enough, in my opinion. It's just not defined enough, and whether like your company can mesh with that person. I typically avoid divas because these are typically people that are maybe in the wrong position. Like if they're an IC and they're a diva, okay, then that's gonna be tough. But if they're a leader and a diva and they're driving the product forward and making results, maybe then if everybody hates working for that person, it also it's not really good for the culture either. So it's trade-offs, I guess, in terms of like how you feel what is important for you in your company. But personally, I don't think it's worth it. I think there's plenty of really great companies that don't hire and don't have divas, and they work great, they work well, and they're really, really large companies. So I just don't know if that's really necessary for success.